Hey everybody, let's give this a hoon. It's Paddy here. Now, thank you so much for watching and listening to TFN, which of course stands for the FN News. Every week I find amazing people and positive stuff, lessons, solutions and inspiration to make the place we live better for us all. Here is what is coming up on the show. Our brainy Kiwi today carries around a brand new Kiwi invention everywhere she goes. That's because it's implanted in a wee brain. Now, then what happens when good Kiwi teens give up their phones for 3 weeks? This is a true story, actually. Teens giving up their phones for 3 weeks. I'll bring you the before and after. And how good is Amanda Luxon? You might not actually know how good she is, so I will tell you. Then finally, our great Kiwi today are Steve and Seamus from the Between Two Beers podcast, opening up about their fathers. Right, let's get into it. Let's have a hoon. Time to go inside someone's brain. Jess Granger has hydrocephalus. It's inflammation of the brain, but she's one of just a handful of lucky people in the world. Hardly anybody's got this because she is testing a brand new Kiwi invention. It's a sensor that can tell when her brain is swelling up and needs to be drained. And that sensor is in her brain right now as we speak. Welcome to the FN News, Jess. You've got something implanted in your brain, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
So that is inside your brain.
Yeah.
What is it doing?
It's checking the pressure. So I have a condition called hydrocephalus, and there is a build-up of fluid in the ventricles of the brain. So this sensor is telling me how much pressure is in the brain.
Wow. Okay, so we'll come to that in a second. Hydrocephalus does what to you? What does it cause for you?
For me, lots of headaches, migraines, vision problems, nausea, vomiting, dizziness.
Sounds terrible.
Lots, yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Hydrocephalus sucks.
It does suck.
Yeah.
It does.
But with that, what is the worst thing that can happen with hydrocephalus?
Well, you can die. It can be fatal. Brain herniation, you can fall unconscious, seizures, lots of different things.
Yeah, so it's bad. And show me how it went into your brain, because people will be wondering how on earth this can happen.
So here's a little syringe here, and that's the sensor at the bottom there. So we've got a little hole in the brain down here, so I'm just going to pop that in, and then insert, and you can see
it's inside your brain.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. You do have a hole in your brain. Why is that? It's been put in there. You've had a shunt.
That drains the fluid from the ventricles down into my abdomen, where it's reabsorbed in the body.
Right. So hydrocephalus is a build-up of fluid.
Correct.
The shunt that you've had put in allows you to drain that.
Yes. The
shunt automatically relieves the pressure. So just explain to me, why do you need the sensor?
So the shunt relieves the pressure. It diverts the fluid from my brain, but that can get blocked. And over time, your pressure will increase. So by having the sensor, I can tell when that is increasing.
Right, so that can tell you whether your shunt is blocked or not. And then you know, my shunt is blocked, pressure is building.
Yep.
I need to get down to the hospital.
Yeah, pretty much, yep.
And that's the game changer that you're talking about, isn't it?
Yep.
How would you actually do it? So how do you check your sensor?
Yeah, so we've got this little wand here. This is created by Katia Health, and I'm able to place it over where my shunt is, and that's where the sensor is inserted, and I just hold it for 10 seconds. I can show you if you like.
Yeah,
I'll turn it on and
do a little
show you.
What does that mean?
It's loading.
Oh, it's loading.
Data.
It's loading.
Yeah. It's waking the sensor up. So -6.
Is that good brain pressure?
Yep, for me, that's pretty baseline with my sitting or standing readings.
What makes it so good for you?
I think for me, I started to get a lot of anxiety around when I started to get these headaches and migraines, and that's just reduced that anxiety tenfold for me. I feel so confident with this, and I trust it and the people that have designed it. So yeah, it's been good.
So you trusted them enough to let them put something in your
I know,
brain.
it sounds crazy, but I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and what are your friends, what do they think when you say, hey, I've got a scanner in my brain or an implant in my brain?
Everyone's pretty fascinated by it.
Yeah, do they have any nicknames for you?
Yeah, I've got, one of my best friends calls me Cyborg.
Cyborg?
Yeah.
How many people in the world have got these?
Well, I think in America, the sensor?
Yeah. The
Only
things
12.
in the brain.
Only 12. Yeah.
And all Kiwis, I understand.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
And you were what, one of the first? Do you know?
I believe I was 4th.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what would you say to the Katia Health people who have invented this?
I've told them so many times, I'm just so grateful that they care this much to be able to do this for people like us. Yeah, it's truly so amazing.
Cool. And do you mind if can I do a sensing of your brain?
Go for it.
Okay.
You want to grab it? Try now, in that position, yeah. Okay. You got it, Patty, you got this. There you go.
I'm scanning your brain.
You are scanning my brain.
It's going up bit by bit.
Yep.
I'm scanning a brain.
When we get to the last beep, you'll get a reading. What'd it say?
-5.
Cool.
It's gone down since you've been in this interview. What would you say to all the people in the world with hydrocephalus that might be able to be helped by this?
Oh, I hope this can get out to the world. I truly do. There's about 1 million people in the States with hydrocephalus, and about 100 kids in New Zealand every year are diagnosed.
And this would change their lives, be a game changer.
Yeah, I think it also will ease a lot of strain on the hospitals.
In terms of people going in with hydrocephalus, checking it, they don't need to.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, absolutely brilliant. I'll give you your brain scanner back.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you very much for coming on. This is the Effin News.
This is the Effin News.
Now, if you want to support the Kiwi company developing this technology for millions of people around the world, you can invest in the company doing this. Katia Health. They are crowdfunding on the Snowball Effect website. Google search Snowball Katia, Kitea. Okay, now it's time for our Good Kiwi. I was talking about Adolescence the other day, the brutal TV show where the world of social media warped a 13-year-old kid so badly he ended up killing someone and tearing his own family apart as well. That's the extreme end of the damage that these bloody phones can do. But even the everyday harms are real, and we're understanding more and more about them. One solution is no social media. Australia is doing that for young teens. But what happens when you take phones off kids cold turkey? Here's the before and the after.
My name's Micah Hina. I'm from Heretaunga College and I'm 16.
My name's Emma Bonney. I'm from Upper Hutt and I go to Heretaunga College.
I'm addicted to my phone.
I would quite like to cut down the screen time a bit, probably like 3 hours a day. My max was about 6, I think.
Most I've done is about 8 hours, I think.
8 hours in a day?
Yeah, so it's quite bad, but TikTok, games, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it. When you're on your phone, you don't really notice it, eh? You look back at it and then you go, oh hell. So
And how do you feel after that sometimes?
Eyes are sore, headache, yeah, just sick really.
Awful. I just feel so tired and like not energetic at all and like guilty.
How do you feel about going without your phone for 21 days?
I think it'll be good for me to be away from it. So the next 3 weeks at Outward Bound, I'll be doing things like tramping and kayaking and rock climbing and things.
Outward Bound's going to be pretty cool.
17 days into your Outward Bound course, how have you found not having a phone?
Not too bad. I completely forgot about it really. Day one I got here, had my phone in after I've been too busy to realise I didn't have one. Sometimes it's a bit odd reaching for it, phantom thing, but honestly not too bad. It's nice without it.
It's easy to forget about it a lot of the time since we kept so busy. It's a bit hard like not having any contact with friends and family, but I think it's been pretty good for me and yeah, we'll try and limit screen time when I get back, I'm thinking.
What was it like to be without a phone for 21 days?
It was awesome. Like the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Oh, I feel pretty good. I feel changed really.
When I got it back, it was like, oh, this feels so weird. I don't like this at all. If that makes sense, it just felt really wrong, to be honest.
Without it, it was pretty cool. I felt
more free.
I would really recommend to everyone to try and limit screen time usage.
I reckon other teenagers go out. You go without your phone for a bit. Try journaling. That's another way to let everything out and occupy your mind. Go outside, go for a walk without your phone, and just listen to everything. And when you do that, you feel pretty free. It's pretty cool.
Well, what's the chant? Do the chant. Do the chant. Do the chant.
Yes, we are ready, ready. Yes, we are ready, ready.
Well, thanks so much to Micah and Emma for letting us watch this experiment of kids without their phones. And it is something, in my view, that we need to do something about in New Zealand. We need to look at some sort of ban like what Australia has and watch this space. Righto, now it's time for today's How Good. Today I'm asking you, how good is Amanda Luxon? Yes, Amanda Luxon, because I reckon Amanda Luxon is really good. Why? Because the Prime Minister's wife, as she's known, has given one of the best takes on the polarisation of politics that I have ever heard. These are Amanda's words, and I quote, "We seem to have lost the ability to hold differences and still be friends." Now, I wholeheartedly agree with Amanda on this. Kiwi society, in my view, just keeps getting angrier and more angsty. So after a recommendation, I started listening to Amanda Luxon on Petra Baggett's podcast, Grey Areas, and I could not stop listening. It revealed Amanda as incredibly down-to-earth, grounded, principled, and thoughtful. She bemoaned the lack of critical thinking in modern-day New Zealand, something I also worry about. Amanda said, and I'll quote her again, "I will seek out people who have a different stance on something. I'm not going to grow as an individual unless I challenge my own thinking." That is great advice from Amanda Luxon, and something I actually wish I'd do more of myself. Speaking about New Zealand, Amanda Luxon said, "We are way closer than we are apart." Again, this is something I truly believe, but New Zealand just does not feel that way right now. As I listened, I wondered why I found Amanda Luxon so surprising. Had I judged her? Hate to admit it, but maybe I had. I hope not. It certainly made me reflect. At the very least, I didn't know much about Amanda Luxon. I'd only seen Women's Magazine articles, selfies on Christopher Luxon's Instagram, and the clickbait about her election night biceps. But what I really liked about what Amanda was saying to Petra, I really, really liked it because it came with a certain authority from the uniquely cursed position of a Prime Minister's partner, where the person you love is hated by a lot of people. The partner tends to cop it too, and in the past, they have been judged, labelled, put in a box, or even been the victim here in New Zealand of cruel rumours and outright lies. As Petra put it to Amanda, some people will listen to this to not like you. You are the baddie and your husband is a baddie. Now, I learned from the podcast that Amanda Luxon has spent a lot of time understanding how different personalities work as a workplace consultant using what's called the Myers-Briggs test. The test basically diagnoses personalities and shows that your way of thinking is not the same as others, but you can get to the same place in the end. Now, what I really liked was Amanda Luxon talking about taking the stress and anxiety of conflict away. Her thesis on this was that disagreement with bad intent was destructive, but disagreement with good intent was productive. Some people will say that these all sound like meaningless platitudes, that they're very airy-fairy, but that would just fall into the same divisive and angry trap that Amanda Luxon is talking about. If we take a step back and are positive, she is talking about simple truths, and if we followed them, it would make all of us better. I could not agree more with Amanda Luxon's vibe. She was talking about choosing positivity over negativity. I'll quote her again. Focus on what we have that's similar and work with respect through the disagreement. That's her words. So thank you, Amanda Luxon. You sound to me like a decent Kiwi with positive vibes. I reckon lots of us, including many of our politicians, could learn a lot from you. How good, Amanda Luxon? Real good. Right, now it's time for our Great Kiwi. Today we've got two great and actually lovely Kiwi here. Stephen Holloway and Seamus Martin are the hosts of the Between Two Beers podcast, and they've also started a new thing I really wanted to talk to them about. It's about the precious stories your parents have, and it's about preserving those stories. Stephen and Seamus, how are you, boys?
Good, Paddy. Yeah,
really
thanks
good.
for having us.
Yeah,
Excited to be here.
Big day.
Yeah, it's
big day today.
Every day's a big day around here, and we want to talk about reflections, and we'll come to what it is, but it's about talking to someone that you love and getting those memories and reflections from them. And of course, this idea sparks, Steve, from you interviewing your dad on your podcast, your dad, Bruce, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We kind of stumbled into this line of storytelling. So the Between Two Beers podcast has been going about 5.5 years. And in year one, after about 25 episodes, we ran out of guests. And then we didn't have a guest one week, so I said, Dad, come in, let's have a chat. So we put a microphone on the desk in my garage in Hamilton, and for 90 minutes asked him all of the questions about his life that I'd kind of always wanted to, but never found the right time or place. And I remember after he left, and I was talking to Shay about it, and I was like, that's going to be really, really powerful, priceless one day. People should do this more. And so the next week we did My Best Friend's Dad, and I thought the same thing, like, wow, capturing someone's story in their words, it doesn't happen enough. Like, too often stories get lost when people either can't tell them anymore or they pass. And so it kind of planted the seed of an idea of how do we help capture more people's stories.
Was there something you learned from your old man by interviewing him that you didn't know? You know, was there something that kind of came out in that interview or you know, that you hadn't asked him before?
So much. My old man is probably like a lot of Kiwi dads out there. He's difficult. He's stubborn. He doesn't suffer fools, but he's also incredibly insightful and thoughtful. And across that interview, I asked him questions like, did you fulfill your potential as a journalist? He was a journalist for 25 years, but a bloody good one, but he never sort of became an editor. He never pushed on. Why? Why was that? And his answers were great, but they're also they're the conversations you don't normally have, but that microphone gave you permission to, reflecting on would he do things differently in life if he had his chance over with the wisdom he's got. And at times it was difficult because I asked some questions which, you know, I think, again, like most Kiwi men, sometimes they struggle with emotion, and sometimes when I'm going for a deeper level of connection, it can be difficult. But overall, that was him. That 90 minutes was my dad, and I haven't listened back to it, but I know one day I will, and one day it will be my most valuable possession.
Yeah, well, in terms of what was in there, you know, that stands out. Did he explain why he didn't push harder as a journalist and things he regretted?
He did. Yeah, it was work-life balance. It was he had a different vision of life. He knew how hard he would have to work if he kept climbing the ladder, and that wasn't for him. He liked his lot. He was married to my mum, and they had a really good dynamic of, you know, she earned more money than him, which was unusual for the couple at the time. But he was content and he was happy, and he invested his time into coaching our sports teams and, you know, being there on weekends. And so it was a decision he made, which I think, yeah, looking back is probably a good one.
And Seamus, you're listening to all this and doing this, and you don't have an old man anymore, do you?
Yeah, it was a weird scenario for me. Partly, I recognised in the moment the importance of the conversation and the gift that it would give not only Stephen but also his kids. You know, like, I only know 3 of my grandparents through stories. I never met them at all, so they only exist as stories that have been retold for me. So, you know, in that conversation, one, I was really happy that we were providing this gift for Stephen and his family. But on the other hand, there's a part of me that yearns for that. So my father passed away in 2010. You know, through the course of his life, he was involved in a serious car accident that he was in intensive care for 8 weeks. And part of his own rehabilitation, he journaled. So he wrote some of his life stories from what he could remember up until about 1993, I think. So I've got some stories from then till 93, but there's a big part, you know, that I was present for that isn't retold, that is only retold through the siblings and through the family. So yeah, on the one hand, I'm really, really happy, but on the other hand, I wish more than anything that I'd have the ability to hear the story that you've heard a million times, and then when your dad or your mum or someone starts to tell it again, you roll your eyes and you go, oh, here we go again. But to be able to hear it in their own words and the nuance of the story, and everybody adds their own little bit of GST to something as well, right? So when the retelling of these stories, when they're not around, they get muddled and confused along the way as well. So it's wonderful that we've got the ability now to help families keep those stories alive, because they do end, they do pass when someone when someone's no longer with us. So to be able to keep that treasure is a really important something.
What would you ask your dad if you could?
Oh man, there's so many things.
What's one question you'd ask your dad if you could?
I'd probably ask Dad when he realised how much he loved my mum.
Wow.
Like, what was that moment? Because like Steve and Steve's dad, Bruce, my dad came through the Second World War. So he came through, grew up in England, rations, was quite stoic with his emotion. I know he loved my mum more than anything in the world, but it would be a fascinating question to ask your father, what was the moment that you really realised that this was the person for you forever? Because theirs was a love that was forever until the day that he passed away. It still continues now. My mum, it's now 15 years since my dad's passed, and I know my mum loves my dad more than anything, still to this day. So that would be an interesting thing from his perspective to understand that.
And Steve, what would you want to tell your kids if you were making one of these for them?
I don't know if I would want to tell them anything. I would just want them to get a really full picture of who I am and the way that I think. And I like to be silly and joke about things, but there's also a thoughtfulness side. Yeah, I would just like them to understand, like a capsule of who I am as a person. And I hope they will do that as we grow up and we're together. But there's just something different about a long form interview. Your answers are different, right?
Yeah, it's the overall picture. And, as you guys have put it here, it's in your marketing material, it's pretty upfront, isn't it? What you guys have said, one day the stories will stop. I know I'm kind of laughing, but it's brutal.
I'll tell one quick story. It was probably the most powerful and saddest conversation I've ever had. We got approached by a man with terminal motor neuron disease. So he had assisted suicide planned for a couple of months, and he invited me to his home to capture his life story. Knocked on the door with the recording gear, sat up in his desk. He was a guy, he'd been in the police force 30 years, he'd worked his way up in the judicial system, a really powerful, strong member of society, but he was wasting away. And he still had his voice and he still had his mind, but he was a shell of who he used to be. And we sat there for 2 hours and captured his life story, and it was his farewell to his kids. He spoke to his kids, his last messages to them, all the people who had touched or inspired or been part of his life. He thanked them at the end. And we sat there and we wept afterwards, just 3 minutes. We sat there and man, that had the strongest effect on me. And I remember driving home and thinking that was the saddest and also the most powerful interview I think I'll ever do. And it rattled me because some of the insights you get from someone who can see the finish line and is sharing it with you for the last time is an incredibly intimate, special space. And he has clarity of mind, which I haven't experienced elsewhere. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. And that kind of cemented the importance of this. I mean, that is the extreme example, right? Capturing someone's story for the last time. But it stuck with me after that this is really special work.
It is very special work. And that gives us a chance to leave it on, some advice for other Kiwis. We always ask people this. You learn a lot from this kind of thing. What advice, parting shot, do you guys have for other Kiwis?
Mine is lean into the uncomfortable. I think about my life has been on this incredible growth trajectory over the last 6 years with the podcast, and all of the things which are great have been really hard to start with. And those are personally things like fasting and cold showers and swimming when I couldn't swim, from the sort of health and wellness space, but also public speaking and emceeing and sharing your story and having tough interviews. Everything that you get great reward from is really tough to begin with, so lean into the uncomfortable.
Lean into the uncomfortable. Seamus?
I've stolen mine from Jason Gunn, another great New Zealander, which
I steal stuff from him every day. Wish I could steal thingy's eye from him, but
well, hopefully you steal this one, which is be the best part of somebody's day. That's a mantra that he lives by, and when I heard him talk about it, I reflected on my own kind of situation. And there are times in life where you might be a bit blue, you might be going through something, but your interactions with other people can help that. You just never know what somebody else is going through. So if you enter their lives with an element of positivity, or a nice comment or something like that, you might just be the best part of that person's day that just helps them get through that day.
You've been the best part of my day, you too, by far. Okay. But just before we go, how much weight have you lost?
30 kgs.
You lost 30 kg, so you've gone from what to what?
155 to 125. If my maths is right.
Yeah, that's about. Yeah. What do you want to get to?
Look, for me now, it's more just about having the systems in place to not get to where I was before.
You look great.
Thank you.
It's made me happy. All right, thank you very much, guys, and good on you for getting people's reflections.
Cheers, Paddy. Cheers, Paddy.
Now, if you want to get you and your family involved with the Reflections, go to www.reflections.life. Right, that's TFN for another week. No need for reflections here. If you hear of anything or know of anything that can bring some positivity to the world of news in this country, get in touch. Paddy@tfn.co.nz. See you next week. Cheers.